Well, we have some good news out of London, where Clarence House has announced the engagement of Prince Harry to American actress Meghan Markle. Now, according to the announcement, the couple was engaged earlier this month. The wedding is planned for the spring of 2018. Let us turn now to Mark Phillips, who is joining us now from London. Mark, you know, you are our go-to man for all things royal. Now we have a royal engagement on our hands.
Yeah, here's the scoop. This may be the most anticipated, expected, and unsurprising royal engagement announcement there has ever been. The rumors have been swirling around here for months. The couple were, of course, seen together last summer at the Invictus, the Wounded Veterans Games that were held up in Toronto, where she was filming Suits for many seasons, in fact. This is an expected wedding announcement, but in many ways a special one as well. Long gone are the days when a royal married a commoner, it was news. That's not anymore. That precedent's been well set. Even marrying an American, of course, the Wallace Simpson story from the 30s is still pretty hot here. But in this case also, he is marrying a child of Hollywood. This is an actress who grew up on the West Coast, father in the entertainment business. She's mixed race. Her mother is Caucasian. Her father is African American. So in many ways, it's precedent setting in that respect as well. The good wishes have begun to flow in, especially from the Queen, of course, and the Duke of Edinburgh, who say they wish them every happiness, delighted for the couple. Harry's father, the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, says he's thrilled. His brother and his wife, William and Kate, are very excited for Harry and Meghan. Wish them a happy life together. And from Meghan's parents, Thomas Markle and Doria Ragland from the West Coast, they're incredibly happy. Wish them a lifetime of happiness. So once again, the royal family has found a way to make news.
Indeed, you know, you mentioned that she's biracial, that her mother is African American, and in fact, that is how a lot of us sort of came to know that he was dating her, because probably about a year ago, the prince issued a statement confirming that he had a girlfriend, but also, you know, really criticizing some in the media and the way that she was portrayed and some of the stuff that she's had to deal with in regards to social media and how she was, what they called sort of racial undertones.
Well, I suppose that's a backstory to this. It's not an issue. I have to say, it's not really an issue here. We've talked about it. People will remark upon it. This is a thoroughly modern young man and a very modern relationship, it seems, and perhaps it shows how far we've all come. It'll be talked about. It ought to be talked about because of its significance, I suppose. But it's not. There's no conjecture or any suggestion or anything that this is in any way kind of unusual. It's obviously historically unusual, but in the sense of modern social mores, once again, the royal family are proving that they can move with the times.
Okay, so let's get to the good stuff. When are we going to see the ring? When are we going to see the official photos?
Yeah, this afternoon's the answer to that one. There'll be a photo session, as there is in these cases. You may remember the one with William and Kate, where she will be unveiled to the snapping hordes of the great rumpled press corps of the UK and the world, for that matter. And it'll take off from there. As I say, none of this is a surprise. The relationship was well known. It had gone public. They had been seen together in the past. The rumors of the engagement have been circulating here with a frenzy over this past weekend. The papers were full of stories about how there were rumors about the engagement and that it may have already happened. And what do you know, it has.
You know, talking about the papers in London, they're sort of well known for being outspoken, having sensational headlines. Do you think she'll be a media darling?
Well, by definition, she's already a media darling. She's a big star. He's marrying a Hollywood star. In public relations terms, that's a bonanza, I suppose. She's obviously photogenic, so is he. They're a very attractive couple. And this young generation of royals, he's what I think fifth in line to the throne, so doesn't really have a chance in reality of becoming a monarch here. But both he and his brother, you'd have to say the monarchy is both in constitutional terms and in news terms, is in pretty good hands.
You know, you mentioned he's fifth in line to the throne. We're showing some video of the couple. I think they were actually in Toronto at the time. She's wearing sort of a button-down shirt and ripped jeans, and he's pretty casually dressed as well. Being fifth in line to the throne, does that give them just a little more leeway? I know this wedding is going to be a big deal, but are they going to have a little more say in it than, say, maybe his brother had?
I suppose. I mean, his brother, you know, as an heir, his brother will one day be king, all things being equal. That there's a more formal aspect to it. He was the firstborn and all of that kind of thing. Harry was the spare, and he, you know, they're both capable, I'd say, of behaving within the social context that they find themselves in. William can be pretty casual as well. It's very common for them to be seen outside of formal duties in wearing jeans and open-neck shirts and that kind of thing. I won't go into Harry in Las Vegas and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
We'll leave that alone for now. But, you know, it's a casual, modern generation of a family, and it's quite interesting to reflect on how much it's changed over the, what now, you know, 70 years or that the Queen's been around. It's quite a difference, and this is a very different kind of marriage.
Yeah, and you know, you brought up Harry in Las Vegas. I know that wasn't one of his finest moments, but I recall a recent interview where he was talking about the death of his mother and acknowledging the fact that it took him really decades to accept and get over the passing of his mother, and I wondered if, you know, some of the shenanigans we saw in Las Vegas was part of that, working it all out.
Well, we can get into the pop psychology of it if you like, but I don't know. I mean, he's you know, he's a child of his generation, but also a child of this venerated royal family here, and somehow has managed to, you know, stride between the two of those. Yes, he and his brother have become very interested in mental health and grievance counseling and that kind of thing, and the stuff that they said, I think it's about a year ago now, about what they went through after their mother's death and not talking about it for decades, in fact, until they finally did, was pretty touching stuff and kind of humanized them in many people's eyes here.
Yeah, and it really made me think that, you know, when Harry talked about the fact that he'd sort of worked through it, that this is a great time for him to be settling down and finding the love of his life.
Well, I suppose that you mentioned the British press, and in those terms, Harry settling down is not good news. Harry being unsettled was good news, and this is kind of a perfect, not the end of the story, but perfect next chapter in the story of him, you know, this tearaway prince who had the Las Vegas incident and all the rest of it. But who also, you know, did several tours of duty in Afghanistan with the British Army and has supported noble causes, particularly the Invictus Games were his creation pretty much, has found a niche for himself, and now, what do you know, he's found a wife for himself.
So when they are married, what will her title be? Will she have a title?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just thought of that. I just wondered.
Yeah, she'll have to have a title. They'll be made the Duke and Duchess of something or other. Absolutely.
Something or other sounds good. So give us the basics. Where are they going to live? How will life unfold for them?
They haven't said. He has a residence. You know, the announcement was made by Clarence House, which is Prince Charles's official residence, one of the royal palaces in central London. William and Kate live in Kensington Palace, and apartments that have created there for them, where, of course, their mother Diana lived after her separation from Prince Charles. Harry has had a little cottage somewhere on the little, I don't know the size of it, but a cottage somewhere on the palace grounds, and she, the rumors had it, had moved in there when she left Toronto after stopping her roles on Suits, where they'll have some sort of place on some sort of royal estate with a pretty significant little pied-à-terre in London as well. I think we can count on that.
Yeah, I think so. And so now goes the planning for the wedding. Next spring is the expectation. That doesn't seem like a lot of time, but I guess they're pretty good at whipping together big events.
Yeah, I think they can do ceremony. They've said June of 18, of course, which is next spring. Spring of 18, June of 18, can't remember exactly which, but somewhere around there. It's not a lot of time. It's 7 months from now. I think there's a template that they can use, and it'll be a grand event.
I am sure. Mark Phillips in London. Thank you very much, Mark.
Pleasure.